For those of you who may not know, Jada ran a talk show for roughly 5 years called Red Table Talk. Unless you were glued to Facebook Watch, you probably missed this one. In 2018, Jada invited her mother Adrienne Banfield Norris and daughter Willow Smith to join her in an open conversation spanning 3 generations of women. Unfortunately, the series tended to drift into too much information territory, discussing topics between family that really should not be discussed with family. Another rough part of the series was that Jada would often bring in celebrity guests to also discuss these topics, as well as confront any issues that there may have been between them. She even brought her husband Will on the air at one point to discuss the infidelity scandals that had plagued their entire relationship. One of the most uncomfortable interviews in the show's history, and that's saying something. It was decided in April of this year that Red Table Talk would be cancelled and removed from the platform. When you have a show that you not only starred in but created from top to bottom, it's 100% your fault when it's eventually cancelled. The show is currently looking for a new home in the world of streaming, but has yet to land on one. Thankfully. Number 9. Cleopatra. The ill-fated TV series Cleopatra hit the air this year and received some of the worst reviews in human history. The show, produced and narrated by Jada, was released on Netflix and it quickly became one of the most mocked properties on the platform. The series starred a black actress named Adele James in the role of the titular Egyptian, causing many fans to call the casting choice cultural appropriation. Ironically though, Cleopatra has almost always been played by a non-Egyptian actor, with Elizabeth Taylor being the most famous portrayal of all time. On top of the controversial casting choice, the overall show was horrible. Many complaints centered around the lazy dialogue, the terrible acting, and the historical inaccuracies, with a ton of the show being set in the wrong time period while claiming to be a historical series. Netflix had to deal with a lot of hardships thanks to the show, literally turning off the comments for the trailer due to the alarming amount of racially fueled and hostile commentary. The show sits at a 2% on Rotten Tomatoes and is unfortunately one of the few production gigs that Jada has under her belt. When a show that could have been great tanks hard, Hollywood tends to blame the person who made the thing. Number 8. The cheating scandals. For a long time now, Will and Jada have attempted to hide their various marriage misdeeds, but they've never truly been successful. While both were rumored to have been cheating on each other multiple times, it was Jada who was actually confirmed to be the cheater pumpkin eater. While rumors had been circulating that Will was romantically involved with his co-star Margot Robbie from Focus, those were quickly laid to rest. However, Jada was most certainly cheating on Will several times over the years, with her Hawthorne co-star Mark Anthony and musician August Alsina, and probably a few other people. The proof? Well, Will walked in on Jada and Mark getting busy, and Will was reduced to tears. While they were able to hide it at the time, the conversation that took place between herself and Will on Red Table Talk was quite revealing. Now, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to cast someone who is known for causing trouble in my movie. Number 7. After Earth. In 2013, Jada helped to produce a film starring her husband Will and son Jaden Smith. Will Smith came up with the idea for After Earth while watching a science show on TV, and eventually that evolved into a science fiction story that takes place in the year 1000 AE, or 1000 years after the human race has left the planet because of pollution and global warming. The plot features a father and his teenage son who crash land on Earth. The teenager must save his injured father on what has become a hostile planet. Now, Smith developed the movie as a star vehicle for his 14-year-old son Jaden. The actor sold his post-apocalyptic vision to M. Night Shyamalan to direct, and this high-budget vanity project was a family affair, with Jaden, Will, Jada, and even her brother Caleb Pinkett being key members of the production. The $130 million Smith family affair hit the big screen in 2013 and was instantly met with harsh criticism, scoring 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics lambasted pretty much every single detail, including a plot that was generally regarded as boring and lifeless. Number 6. Her biases. When the Oscars So White controversy erupted in 2016, Will and Jada were among the most vocal critics of the Academy. For the second year in a row, all 20 of the actors nominated in the lead and supporting roles category were white, something that had not happened since 1998. Jada released a much publicized video explaining why she was boycotting the Oscars that year, hoping to shine a spotlight on institutional racism. However, the majority of Hollywood did not appreciate the things that she was saying about them, not to mention mention, during an episode of her own talk show, the actress confessed that she has a tendency to judge others based on their race, revealing she specifically had a problem with white blonde women. According to Jada herself, blonde hair on a woman just kinda sets her off, and she's had to hold herself back a few times. She went on to reveal that she actually turned down several interviews over the years simply because the interviewer was a white blonde lady. She claims that her bias is due to her history of being bullied by women with those physical traits growing up. Regardless of why she hates them, blonde white women make up a lot of Hollywood these days, so it makes sense that Jada would be slapped on the do not hire list. Number 5. Neglectful parent. Rumors have been flying around for years that Willow and Jaden Smith basically raised themselves. At a young age, Jaden was on track to become an A-list actor after starring in the 2008 remake of the classic Karate Kid movie alongside martial arts and opera legend Jackie Chan. But he later shifted his focus to a more entrepreneurial side of things, developing his own fashion brand, which has gotten him a lot of success. His sister Willow opted to stick with her creative roots, however, and she made quite a name for herself in the hip-hop genre. Unfortunately, their independent behavior comes from a place of neglect. During an episode of Red Table Talk, Jaden confronted his parents, calling them out on their terrible parenting skills. With both being so busy in their careers, they were never home to care for the youngsters. Jaden and Willow recounted spending most of their childhood with nannies and teachers, only seeing their parents when they were working with them on projects or in between things, like when Jaden and Will were working together in the pursuit of happiness. Willow has backed up her brother's story, claiming that the parenting skills forced them to become mentally mature at a very young age, which may play some part in Jaden being so successful at 24. Despite appearing to be a happy family unit in the media, the reality is that Jaden and Willow have been raising themselves for a very long time, just making Jada look even worse than she already was. Number 4. The Nutty Professor. The Nutty Professor is a comedy classic from the legendary performer Eddie Murphy, based on a film from 1963 of the same name starring Jerry Lewis as the leading man. In the 1996 remake, Jada Pinkett Smith portrayed Eddie's love interest Carla Purdy, and despite the film being a lighthearted romp sharing the message of self-love, people hated her in that role. Of all the actors on the screen, Jada is the most out of place. While there wasn't a slew of massive A-listers on command, the cast involved did a great job and everyone had their own little memorable moments. However, Jada is just kinda there. Jada's acting career has been limited over the years, and for good reason. Especially when you put her next to a comedy legend like Eddie frickin' Murphy. That's like putting Jim Carrey and a tired sloth in a room together and telling them to have a rap battle. Jim Carrey wins every time. Her performance in the film was enough to make securing work in the following years difficult, but as you'll see, Hollywood gave her a second chance time and time again. Number 3. Gotham. Gotham is an underappreciated series from the world of DC set in Gotham City before Bruce Wayne even becomes Batman. We follow a young Jim Gordon as he deals with the criminals roaming Gotham streets. People like the Riddler, the Penguin, and of course Jada Pinkett Smith as mob boss Fish Mooney. Fish. DC is fantastic with names. The character acted as the frenemy to the Penguin, but whenever Jada was next to her co-star Robin Lord Taylor, she was outshined every time. In fact, she was outshined by everyone on the show. Her character was meant to be a scary bad guy that strikes fear into the hearts of those who encounter her, but instead, Jada delivered a monotone performance that the producers quickly noticed. By the end of season 3, Fish was written out of the story and left to rot on a dock. Number 2. Scream 2. Now, Scream 2 is not a bad movie. I'm just gonna start by saying that. The Scream franchise is considered to be one of the best horror series of all time. Ghostface is iconic, and so is Jada's only good scene in this movie, when she's taken out by Ghostface. In Scream 2, Jada Pinkett Smith plays one of the ill-fated teens, Maureen Evans. While this was actually one of her few decent performances over the years, spoiler alert, her character does not make it to the end of this movie. Oh wait, I already said that. Oops! She is taken out in a very graphic and public fashion. While watching the fictional Scream film in theaters, Jada cuddles up to who she thinks is her boyfriend, but it's actually just Ghostface in disguise. She gets repeatedly jabbed while the same thing is happening to a character on screen. While this was one of the better scenes in Scream's history, it was the only scene where Jada came across as a good actor. The argument can be made that most young actors just play themselves on screen, but sometimes it feels like Jada forgot that the cameras were even on. on. At number 1, she manipulates. Many things about Jada's personality made celebrities speculate that she may have a hidden evil personality deep inside of her. Well, the Oscar ceremony that took place in 2022 kinda proved that she has a silver tongue. After host Chris Rock made a joke about Jada's balding head, Will Smith initially laughed, but then he looks at Jada, who is seen rolling her eyes and giving him a look of disappointment. The look was enough to force Will's smile away and cause him to do a complete 180, taking the stage to defend his wife. Jada is 100% the reason that situation took place. Despite claiming that she can't make Will do anything, she does have the power to say, "Hey honey, I'm okay, you can leave Chris Rock alone." Instead, she just kinda sat back, watched, and laughed maniacally, so the only thing she's gonna be acting in anytime soon is a therapist's office. Number 10. She made Snoop Dogg cry. Just after Kobe Bryant passed away in 2020, Snoop Dogg was quick to call out Gayle King after she stated in a TV interview that in the past Kobe was accused of making unwanted advances on a woman that wasn't his wife. In an Instagram video, Snoop Dogg would call out King, and in the process he insulted King's appearance before telling her to back off B before we come and get you. As a result of the outburst, instead of having a private conversation with her close friend, she brought Snoop Dogg on her Red Table Talk show where she just embarrassed him, not just in front of her mother and her daughter, but in front of the entire world. After she told the rapper that she felt hurt on behalf of all women when she watched the video of him going after Gayle. As a result, Snoop would be so embarrassed that he'd make another video on Instagram where he'd apologize to King by saying, "Hey, when you're wrong, you gotta fix it. This was a derogatory manner based off of emotions. I was raised better than that, so I'd like to apologize to you publicly for the language I used." Jada somehow made Snoop Dogg retract a statement and cry on camera. That man is a sweetheart, but he can be terrifying when he wants to be. Number 9. Shutting down open marriage rumors. The Smiths have received a lot of scrutiny over their marriage. In 2009, Jada Pinkett Smith addressed the rumors, bluntly telling Atlanta's Q100 that she's heard all of the things, their marriage is not real, that Will is gay, that she's gay, that they swing, all this fun stuff. The actor then dismissed the idea that they had anything to prove, and per Us Weekly, she added that people were going to think whatever they wanted. In 2013, her comments to Huffington Post Live only made the situation 10 times worse. She insisted that Will and herself had no claim over each other's lives. She always told Will that he can do whatever he wants so long as he can look himself in the mirror and be okay. So I guess after the Oscars slap, he just went home and he was like, "Yeah, I'm good." She continues to say they can both do whatever they want because they trust each other, but clarified that that did not mean they had an open marriage. While denying this in 2009, in recent years, Will has mentioned that monogamy was a large part of their relationship for a long time, claiming the trust they have meant freedom to find their own way, as they didn't want marriage to be a prison. So he literally confirms that they now have an open marriage. Probably just waited for the to get out of the house before getting a little busy. Number 8. Bonding with Tupac. Decades after Tupac's passing, people still had questions about Jada's relationship to Mr. Pac. While doing an interview on Sway Universe, she weighed in on her relationship with Tupac, saying that she first met Tupac when she was a purveyor of narcotics, continuing to explain that that was how they first bonded. She clarified that something terrible made her leave the world behind, but that she had already introduced Shakur to the scene. As she got out, he got deeper in. She claimed that they were close for many years, even claiming to have paid a bail of 100 grand after Tupac was held for possible mistreatment charges. What makes their relationship even more questionable is Will Smith expressing his jealousy towards this late rapper. Will claimed that while things never actually got physical, their love for each other was legendary. The interview only made it seem like Jada had a ton of skeletons in her closet that were yet to be revealed. And hey, look how right we were. Number 7. Weird science. Although Jada has tried to claim that she isn't a member of the Church of Science, she's been connected to the controversial religion for years, to a point where even an ex-scientist named Leah Remini told the Daily Beast in 2017 that she knew who Jada was. She's been involved with the church for quite some time, claiming to have never seen Will there, but definitely seeing Jada at the Celebrity Center. Leah would later appear alongside Jada in 2018 for Jada's Red Table Talk show, where the pair settled their dispute. Jada claimed that the stories were outlandish, but that she did actually attend some of the events. I mean, if she had just said that in the first first place, there might not have been so much speculation from the internet. The moment went viral and she is now regularly associated with the works of one L. Ron Hubbard. Number 6. Bad mom. Parenting rumors have been flying around for years that Willow and Jaden Smith basically raised themselves. Their upbringing was nothing to scoff at. Jaden was on track to being an actor after being in The Karate Kid alongside martial arts legend and opera legend Jackie Chan. But he later shifted his focus to the more entrepreneurial side of things, developing his own fashion brand, which has made him a massive success. His sister Willow opted to stick with the creative roots, however, and has made quite the name for herself in the hip-hop world. Now, unfortunately, their behavior comes from a place of neglect. During an episode of Red Table Talk, Jaden actually confronted his parents, calling them terrible right on camera. With both being so busy in their careers, they were never home to care for their youngsters. Jada and Willow recount spending most of their childhood with nannies and teachers, only seeing their parents between projects or if they were working with them, like when Jaden and Will were in the pursuit of happiness. Willow has backed up her brother's story, claiming that the parenting skills forced them to be mentally mature at a very young age, which is probably why they're both so successful in their 20s. Despite appearing to be a happy family unit in the media, the reality was that Jaden and Willow had been raising themselves for a very long time. Number 5. The entanglement. The world was shocked when R&B singer August Alsina came forward to admit that he had an affair with Jada Pinkett Smith in 2015. During an interview, he claimed that he actually sat down with Will Smith and received his blessing due to the nature of their relationship. He insisted that the couple had nothing to be ashamed of and that he loved the Smith family. Now, while Will Smith denied ever giving him a blessing, Jada admitted to the entanglement on Red Table Talk. She explained to her husband that it was a moment that she regretted, all the while referring to her infidelity as an entanglement. Like 2 Christmas lights in a box, just entangled. While many were of course confused as to why she would admit this on the internet for millions of people, they also started to wonder if she might have taken advantage of August. At the time, he was 22 and he had struggled with his health, suffering from an autoimmune condition that left him hospitalized multiple times. Jada even admitted to being his mentor. I don't know, that sounds pretty weird for a mentor-mentee relationship to me. Number 4. The slap. Many things about Jada's personality has made celebrities speculate that she might be some kind of this hidden evil super sorcerer woman who can control people. Well, the Oscar ceremony that took place in 2022 proved that she might have a silver tongue. After host Chris Rock made a joke about Jada's balding head, Will Smith initially laughs, but then Jada gives him this eye roll and this look of disappointment. The look was enough to force Will's smile away and cause him to do a complete 180. He took the stage to defend his wife, and Jada is 100% the reason that took place. Despite claiming that she can't make Will do anything, she does have the power to say, hey, please don't smack Chris Rock, I'm not that mad. Instead, she just kind of sat back and watched and laughed maniacally. The only thing she's going to be acting in anytime soon is a therapist's office. Number 3. Scream 2. I want to start this entry by saying Scream 2 is not a bad movie, okay? The Scream franchise is considered to be one of the best horror series of all time. Ghostface is iconic, and so is Jada's only good scene in the movie, when she's taken out by Ghostface. In Scream 2, Jada Pinkett Smith plays one of the ill-fated teens, Maureen Evans. While this was actually one of her few decent performances over the years, spoiler alert, her character doesn't make it to the end of the movie. Oh wait, I said that at the start of the entry. My bad. She's taken out in a very graphic and public fashion. While watching the fictional Scream film in theaters, Jada cuddles up to who she thinks is her boyfriend, but it's actually just Ghostface in disguise. She gets repeatedly jabbed while the same thing is happening to the character on screen. While this was one of the better scenes in Scream history, it was the only scene where Jada actually came across as a good actor. The argument can be made that most young actors just kind of play themselves on screen, but this one just kind of felt like Jada forgot the camera was rolling. Number 2. Cleopatra. The ill-fated TV series Cleopatra hit the air this year, and it got some of the worst reviews in human history. The show was produced and narrated by Jada, and it was released on Netflix, quickly becoming one of the most mocked properties on the platform. The series starred a black actress named Adele James in the role of the titular Egyptian, which caused many fans to call the casting choice cultural appropriation. Which is funny because Cleopatra has almost always been played by a non-Egyptian actor. Elizabeth Taylor is the most famous portrayal of all time. On top of the controversial casting choice, the overall show was apparently horrible. Many complaints centered around the lazy dialogue, terrible acting, and historical inaccuracies, with a ton of the show being set in the wrong time period while claiming to be a historical series. Netflix actually had to deal with a lot of hardships thanks to this show, literally turning off comments on the trailer due to the alarming amount of racially fueled and hostile comments. The show sits at a 2% on Rotten Tomato and is unfortunately one of the few projects that Jada has under her belt, which is not a great look when a show you built from the ground up is cancelled first round out. And at number 1, she claims she's in the right. When it comes to Jada admitting defeat, it's not something that she does. No, do not do that. Of course, Jada is aware of all the public backlash and overall hate she's been receiving the past few years, but she continues to deny. During an episode of Red Table Talk, while discussing her relationship issues with Will Smith, she mentions the fact that she does not understand why there's so much hate towards her because she's done nothing wrong. Jada had a talk show where she'd literally contradict herself regularly. Sometimes she would just flat out lie about stuff. People were coming on her show being like, actually, so it's no surprise. This is taking the top spot because it's not one specific moment caught on camera. This is a culmination of all of the moments just wrapped into a bow.
Starting off our list today at number 10, we have alopecia. Just after the 2022 Oscars, the internet couldn't stop talking about the hair loss condition Jada Pinkett Smith is suffering from. With her journey of alopecia being openly documented, TikTok and Reddit users have gone on to prove that the star is lying about her condition. With users debating over images Jada has shared of her bald scalp when she was talking about her hair loss in a video shared on TikTok by Mariah Campbell, along with the caption, "Here is my celebrity conspiracy." The content creator can be heard saying, "I think she's completely lying about having alopecia because she's a cheater and wants people to focus on other things." Mariah then went on to say alopecia is patches, smooth patched, where the hair follicles don't grow, and she then started showing images of examples where viewers can see the type of round patches she's talking about. Mariah then went on to show a picture of Jada's head, where she pointed out that there's a line on her forehead, which the actress has explained in a previous video to be the result of her condition. Mariah then pointed out this line was most likely caused by cosmetic surgery and not alopecia. Her second argument would then prove that Jada was lying when she pointed out that if Jada had alopecia, she would have circular, bald patches, but she seems to have a lot of hair growth for someone who has alopecia, meaning she forced Will to smack Chris for no reason. Number 9. Racial bias reason. As we've all come to learn from the recent videos, it's that Jada Pinkett Smith hates white women with blonde hair, meaning she hates my very existence, especially now that I'm calling out for all of her lies. While Jada went on to explain her revelation back in 2018, she would sit down to discuss why seeing blonde hair on white women just triggers her when she admitted to her own biases by saying, "I have to admit I'm guilty to that to a certain degree because I do have my own biases, specifically to blonde women. Blonde hair on white women just triggers me. I've had to catch myself." When her mother asked her if there was a specific incident that happened with someone who had blonde hair, the actress tried to claim that throughout her childhood she was teased by white women in regards to her hair and how she looked. But we all know she's just lying about why blonde hair women trigger her, as it's clearly just a sneak diss towards Margot Robbie. Coming back to our list at number 8, we have the entanglement. Just after August Alsina came out to expose Jada for having an affair with her husband, Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith would soon come out to deny the singer August Alsina's claims that they were in a long-term relationship for years while she was still married to Will. After August spoke publicly about being involved with Jada Pinkett Smith, reps would soon come out with a statement calling the claims absolutely not true. Shortly later, Jada would then head over to her social media accounts to state that there was a lot of pain that needed to be discussed and that she would be taking herself to her famous Facebook watch series, The Red Table Talk. During the conversation, we would learn that the entanglement was in fact true, despite what her representatives led the public to believe in the beginning when Jada admitted to the affair, and when it finally came out, it obviously was all lies, as she also claimed Will never gave the pair his blessing. However, August Alsina has nothing to lose when it comes to his affair, so why would he lie about the issue? Number 7, the Oscar slap. With the infamous Oscar slap being what's been talked about for over a year now, makes us wonder if this incident is ever going to fade away. Probably not. With footage emerging from the Oscars online, it would show Jada Pinkett Smith had a really odd reaction to her husband Will Smith smacking Chris Rock on stage at the Oscars, which suggests that she forced her husband to make a stand for her. When Chris made a joke about Jada playing G.I. Jane because of her bald head, Chris was reportedly unaware of the actress being diagnosed with alopecia. So while we went on to laugh at Chris' joke in the beginning after he saw his wife roll his eyes, things quickly took a sharp turn for the worse. With the event being telecast live, the moment was so intense it didn't show Jada's initial reaction to the slap, or any of the interactions between her and Will beforehand. But now, videos have surfaced online, and in them, Jada can be seen laughing after Will took to the stage to slap Chris before going on to act just as confused as the rest of the audience, which proves Jada is shady and manipulative. Number 6. Relationship with Tupac. For years now, Jada has been lying to the public about how serious her relationship was with Tupac. And honestly, it's gone a little too far as she keeps running her mouth with imaginary stories of the late rapper that make no sense. And it's gotten to the point she's even made her children believe that she would be happier if Tupac was still alive, as Willow even once wrote to the late rapper when she was 11 years old claiming so. With Jada and Tupac's relationship dating all the way back to the 80s when the two attended the same college, Jada has constantly stated that her relationship with Tupac has been strictly platonic, but then she tends to make her presence known whenever he starts to trend again online, which suggests that Tupac was more than just a friend. Especially since after Tupac passed away, his friends would come out to say how much Jada destroyed him when she left him for Will. And since a lot of Tupac's friends have been disgusted by the way she uses his name to draw attention to herself. 5. Not being pregnant. So many actors have admitted to lying to get a gig, and Jada happens to be one of these people. As she once revealed when she was offered the role of Niobe in The Matrix Reloaded, she was pregnant and kinda lied so she could secure the job. After the actor explained why she lost out on the role of Trinity in the original film as it came down to chemistry and she just had none when it came to acting with Keanu Reeves, she went on to explain that the Matrix directors were so impressed with Pinkett Smith that they created a role for her. But the role was actually supposed to go to Aliyah in the beginning, not Jada. Though the role was later given to Jada, she would have lost out on part of it if she had been 100% truthful, as the actor was pregnant with her daughter Willow at the time filming was required. And her being due in November, there was a small problem. Her daughter was due the same month the film was supposed to start filming, so she lied, saying her baby was coming in October, so she would be ready by the end of November. Luckily, Willow came at the end of October, or things could have been a real mess for the production team. Number 4. Loving Will. Lately, it's been pretty clear that Jada Pinkett Smith has never loved Will Smith. Now, I get it. You're all probably wondering to yourselves how I may have came to this conclusion. Well, just let me explain. I came to this conclusion because she's had an entanglement, and then she went on to put all of her business out on the table while diving into everyone else's business in the process during multiple episodes on her infamous Facebook watch series, The Red Table Talk. But think about it. If Jada seriously loved Will, like truly loved him, she would have never let him run up on the stage and smack Chris. She would have never laughed about the overall situation, and honestly, Will would be happy, but instead they both look miserable with each other. So it shows that when she says she loves Will, she's truly lying to Will and herself. Number 3. Being a good parent. For years, Jada has been trying to convince the public that she nailed the whole parenting thing, and that the way she approaches things as a mother is how every mother should be approaching their child. However, when Jada brought her Jaden and Willow on the Red Table Talk, they would open up about how hard it was for them to have Jada and Will as parents, and how they found it difficult to grow up in a famous family. To the point her kids felt like there was seriously not enough support when it came to their artistic careers, and they wished that their family could have noticed they were struggling and gave them support. Instead of admitting to the problem, Jada then went on to blame the whole thing on Will Smith, for noting that they had different parenting skills due to the fact that they grew up with different backgrounds. But how you grow up shouldn't affect the way you parent your as we all have control over our own actions, and people can't affect that. Number 2. Not being a Scientologist. For years, Jada Pinkett Smith has been lying about how involved she is with Scientology, with former Scientology members confirming that not only was Jada involved in the controversial religion, they've also pointed out she was actually a recruiter for the organization. While the star has been known to visit the Scientology Center from time to time, she's even tried to claim that she was just at the church out of curiosity and wanted to learn what she wanted to learn. She didn't think of herself as being a Scientologist. However, with the actress helping the church open the new leadership academy in her own home, it would later be revealed by teachers and parents who pulled their out of the school that the school's curriculum followed the teachings of Scientologists. And if the actor wasn't a Scientologist, then why did she force her husband not only to open the school with her, but allow the church to open the academy in one of their homes and put her own in it? It adds up. Number 1. Chris Rock. Just after Chris Rock released his brutal Netflix Selective Outrage special, Jada Pinkett Smith would try to take aim at the comedian by saying he was obsessed with her. However, we all know this just isn't the truth, because who's obsessed with Jada Pinkett Smith? As she would have a close source come out to point out that she had nothing to do with the drama between Chris and her husband, and the only part she ever had in this mess was the fact that Chris heckled her. The source then went on to try to claim that Chris was so obsessed with her for almost 30 years by pointing out when he filmed the special, it was in her hometown, and then he claimed how she should have been made fun of as she started this. As he argues, she should have quit the Oscars. I mean, Chris is hurt, but I don't think he's ever been obsessed with Jada. As compared to some of the other celebrities he's heckled, he says her name way less.